Good evening, dear parishioners, and thank you for gathering in this sacred space to reflect on the inspiring story of Zachariah and Elizabeth, a couple whose journey is woven into the tapestry of the Gospel of Luke, specifically in Luke chapter 1 verses 5 to 20. As we explore this passage, let's also draw insights from today's other readings: Genesis chapter 17 verses 1 to 5, 15 to 19, Malachi chapter 2 verses 17 to 35, and Hebrews chapter 11 verses 1 to 12. Background: before we immerse ourselves in the narrative of Zachariah and Elizabeth, let's set the stage. In Luke chapter 1, we find ourselves at the threshold of the New Testament, where the angel Gabriel appears to Zachariah, a priest, announcing the miraculous conception of a child, John the Baptist. Zachariah and Elizabeth, despite their old age and barrenness, become pivotal figures in the unfolding story of God's redemptive plan. Now, let's explore 5 key points on the family of Zachariah and Elizabeth. Point 1. Faithfulness in the face of barrenness. The opening verses of Luke chapter 1 highlight the faithfulness of Zachariah and Elizabeth despite their barrenness. In Genesis chapter 17, we encounter another couple, Abraham and Sarah, facing a similar predicament. Both stories teach us that God's promises often unfold in unexpected ways, and our faithfulness in the midst of apparent barrenness positions us for God's miraculous intervention. Comparative reference: Romans chapter 4 verses 18 to 21. Against all hope, Abraham in hope believed and so became the father of many nations. Point 2. The power of divine appointments. Zachariah's encounter with the angel Gabriel was a divine appointment that changed the course of history. Similarly, in Genesis, God establishes a covenant with Abraham, marking a pivotal moment in the narrative of salvation. The family of Zachariah and Elizabeth reminds us that our lives are punctuated by divine appointments that align with God's larger plan. Comparative reference: Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Point 3. Priests and prophetic families. Zachariah, a priest, and Elizabeth, from the lineage of Aaron, were chosen to bring forth a prophetic voice, John the Baptist. In Malachi, we hear a call for priests to uphold the covenant and lead lives of righteousness. The family of Zachariah and Elizabeth embodies the intertwining of priestly and prophetic roles, emphasizing the sacred responsibility within families to uphold God's ways. Comparative reference: Exodus chapter 19 verse 6, "You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." Point 4. Faith that transcends human understanding. Hebrews chapter 11, often called the faith chapter, emphasizes faith as the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. Zachariah's initial disbelief and subsequent encounter with the miraculous echo the journey of faith illustrated in Hebrews. Faith, as we see in the family of Zachariah and Elizabeth, transcends human understanding and opens the door to God's extraordinary work. Comparative reference: 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7, "For we live by faith, not by sight." Point 5. A heritage of faith. The story of Zachariah and Elizabeth contributes to the rich heritage of faith that culminates in the birth of John the Baptist. Their faithful response to God's call echoes down the corridors of history, inspiring us to consider the legacy of faith we are leaving for future generations. In our families, like theirs, our faith journey shapes the spiritual inheritance we pass on. Comparative reference: Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6, "Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." Quotes from Church Fathers, Saints, and Pope Francis. Street. Augustine once said, "Faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe." Pope Francis, in addressing the importance of family life, often emphasizes the role of families as schools of love and faith. Connecting to Indian, Kerala context and current affairs, in the Indian context, where family plays a central role in cultural and societal dynamics, the story of Zachariah and Elizabeth resonates deeply. Kerala, known for its close-knit families, reflects a heritage where faith is often passed down from generation to generation. As we navigate the challenges of current affairs, including the complexities of family life in a rapidly changing world, the story of Zachariah and Elizabeth encourages us to anchor ourselves in faith. In a society that sometimes values success by worldly standards, their story prompts us to embrace God's timeline for our lives and families, trusting that His promises will be fulfilled. May the family of Zachariah and Elizabeth serve as a source of inspiration for our own families, guiding us to walk faithfully in the steps of those who have gone before us. Amen.